Hi everybody, my name is Blesch and this is Relentless. I'm an American Israeli and I wanted to make this video today because I saw a video on YouTube that was put out by John Boyega. Now for those who don't know, John Boyega is an actor from England. He's most well known for his role as Finn in the new Star Wars trilogy. He's an amazing actor, he's really good. When you hear him, in just a minute I'm going to play a clip from the video that he posted to give everybody just a little bit of context as to what I'm going to talk about following that video. But again, he's an amazing actor. He is able to switch his accents around like, wow, you would not believe. You know, he sounds like a typical American in the Star Wars films, but he's, you know, you hear his British accent in the clip that I'm going to play in just a minute, and it makes you like, wow, I can't believe this is the same guy. He's like a chameleon when it comes to that. He's a really good actor. That said, his video that he put out was kind of a knee-jerk reaction to the murder of George Floyd this past week in Minneapolis. And in the video, he curses a lot. He talks about racist, bleeping white people a lot. And I'm going to go ahead and play that clip for you right now. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk just a little bit about why John is, you know, I don't think what he had to say was malicious. Like I said, I think it was a knee-jerk reaction to the horror of what happened to George Floyd. But with that said, I think that he's wrong. I think John Boyega is wrong in his conclusions that he reached. And I'm going to talk about that after the clip.
So I'll say it again. You racist white people. I said what I said. And if you don't like it, go suck a seriously. Any racist straight up block, it's fine. It's ready. Don't need you on my page. And if you're a fan of me and you support my work and you're racist and you're arguing with what I was saying, you yeah? So I straight up like that. That's how it's going to go. And throughout my whole career as an actor, I want to let you guys know this. I'm not the guy. I'm not Hollywood. I never ever left the UK to go and live in LA for over a year. I never did. I'm from London. I'm from here. We have different rules. We're real. We speak truth. Where are emotions on the wrist? I'm also
all right, so now that you're back, you saw what John Boyega had to say. You racist, bleeping white people, and then he talks about, you know, if you're a follower of his on social media, if you're consider yourself a friend of his, etc. But you disagree with him. Or if you think that what happened to George Floyd is okay, then you can bleep, bleep, blah, 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 right? Well, the truth is that I don't blame him for saying, you know, if you're following me and you think what happened to George Floyd is okay, or that if you feel that he deserved to be killed by those police officers, there's something wrong with you, and I wouldn't want to be your friend either. With that said, excuse me. With that said, there's some facts that John is just kind of leaving out, or that he's ignoring, or that he just kind of glossed over. And some of those facts are, number one, yes, it was a white police officer who had his knee on the neck of George Floyd. It was a white officer who ended up killing George Floyd. And at the very same time, there were 3 other police officers present who did nothing to stop him. I heard this theory put forward, and I don't know if it's true or not, but one of the facts of the case is that George Floyd and Derek Chauvin both worked security at the same nightclub. Some people think, and I don't know, like I said, if it's true or not, but some people think that it's possible that these 2 guys had some kind of a history together. The media has downplayed the idea that they knew each other because they worked different shifts. One of them worked inside the nightclub and the other one worked outside the nightclub. That doesn't mean that they didn't know each other, though. And, you know, this could have been a personal dispute that Derek got his fellow police officers in on, and allowed, and they just kind of like ganged up and was like, all right, we're going to take George Floyd out. And, what happened. And George Floyd ended up dead. Like I said, I don't know how much water that particular theory holds, but it is one that I heard. Now, when it comes to this whole issue of racism and how this thing has blown up so crazily to where there are, riots and people who have taken the horror of George Floyd's murder and they've run with it and they've used it as a political excuse they've used it as a tool. His murder has become a political tool to advance. Let me start over. It has become a political tool to advance certain agendas, and it's not an agenda of, oh, we need equality. There's already in America today, anybody can reach whatever kind of goals they want if they have the right ambition, if they have, if they just don't stop pushing for their own success. That's not a very popular view, but it's the truth. I don't even live in America. I live in Israel. And you know what? When it comes to the economics, America has it a lot better than Israel does. The opportunities that are available in America compared to those in the Middle East are huge. They're gigantic. And I can't believe that there is anybody in America complaining about lack of opportunity. Now with the COVID-19 pandemic, and also, with all of the looting and burning that has gone on, with the loss of businesses and the hit on the economy, yes, it's going to be a lot harder for individuals to get ahead. Some of that opportunity got shot down the toilet. But that doesn't mean that, it's better elsewhere. America still has it better than just about any country on the planet. And if you don't believe me, feel free to move to another country and check it out for yourself. With that said, okay, that's kind of like a side note. When it comes to racism, America does have a problem with it. I have seen stuff when I was a kid. I lived in Virginia for a while. And I guess I was like 12 or 13 years old. And I was looking to get some extra side work. I wanted to buy a video game or something. And I went to mow this old white lady's lawn. Somebody told me that she was looking for a kid to come and mow her lawn. And so I went, I called her, she agreed, I went over, I mowed her lawn, I raked her leaves, excuse me. And when everything was said and done, first of all, she didn't even meet me. She didn't know what I looked like, okay? She just heard me on the phone. And after I was done, I went over to her house early in the morning, and then I did all of the work. And when I wanted to get paid, I went up to her door, I knocked, and she's like, "Well, who are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm the kid who called you to mow your lawn and to rake your leaves and to get all of this stuff done for you." And she says, "Whoa, my stars and gardens. I never would have believed that a so polite." Those were her words to me. I was shocked out of my mind. I have never, ever in my life heard somebody talk like that. But this was this old white lady in Virginia, in Buckingham County, and I was just, it was horrible. And it stuck with me for like the rest of my life. By the way, I actually never went back and mowed her lawn ever again because I was so offended. With that said, that kind of thing, that kind of attitude is pervasive in certain areas of the country. So when somebody says America has a race problem, I actually believe that. There is, especially in certain areas, there is a race problem, and it needs to stop. With that said, for everybody who's howling in outrage and be like, "Oh, it can't, it's just not true, blah, 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 blah. Black people have the same rights as Americans have, as any other ethnicity in America, blah, blah, blah." That's true. On paper, it's true. They do have today the same rights that white people do. And in some cases, they actually have it better, like when it comes to getting into universities because of affirmative action. With that said, the attitude of many white people is wrong, and again, it should stop. And the other thing that just blows my mind is that there are many people who claim to be religious. You know, they're either, it doesn't matter what religion you are, but in America, it's been predominantly Christian. So I'm going to talk about some of the Christian attitudes. And I shouldn't say Christian attitudes because it's not taught in the New Testament. It's not taught in the Bible anywhere. But there are a lot of people who claim to be Christians, and yet they still hate their neighbor based on the color of their skin. And one of the things that I'd like to point out, I don't actually remember where it says this in, I don't remember actually where it says this in the New Testament, but it says something like, you know, if you hate your neighbor whom you've seen, but you love God, you say you love God, whom you have never seen, then the truth isn't in you. How can you claim to love God whom, you know, you've never seen him? All you've got is like a book, and you're reading this book. That's his message to you. Great. You know, but you say you love him. You've got this subjective experience with him, and you love him, but this other man, woman, this other human that you see right next to you, this other person that you can see, you hate them, you hate one of God's creations, somebody who was made in God's image. You are a liar, and the truth isn't in you. So if you're somebody who says that you're a Christian, but you hate your neighbor, you might want to go do some repenting. Something else that a lot of people don't take into account is something that Jesus said. You know, I'm a Jew, but I absolutely agree with what Jesus said, and I'm going to quote him right now. One of the things that he said in the Gospel of Matthew, in chapter 5, he says, if you love only those who love you, what reward is there in that? Even corrupt tax collectors do that. You know, and if you're kind only to your friends, how are you any different from anybody else? Even pagans do that. You're to be perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. Okay? And I totally agree with that. You know? I was talking to a guy not that long ago, and he was like, listen, bro, somebody comes over to my house, and he's cool with me, I'm going to be cool with him. But the minute he starts, you know, mouthing off, getting, you know, he gives like a long laundry list of things that somebody could do that's going to piss him off and cause him to be like, you know what, I hate you. That, you know, that everybody's like that. And in some sense, it's kind of normal to be that way. You hate those who hate you. You love those who love you. But what Jesus is saying is God's not like that. God loves everybody. And if you're a Christian, then you believe that God became a man and came down to earth and died for everybody. And what that means is that he loves everybody every bit as much as he loves himself. That's kind of a powerful thought. If God can love us so much that he dies for all of humanity and it doesn't matter what color they are, how dare you go and hate somebody else just because of the color of their skin? You know? You should think about that. Something else when it comes to Judaism is there's actually 3 great places that fight against the concept. Even, you know, the concept of racism is abhorrent to God, period. And when it comes to that, there's some evidence. And one of those comes from Perke de Rebbe Eliezer at the beginning of chapter 24, where it's taught that Shem, the son of Noah, was a black man. And then there is a place that everybody can agree upon, if you know, from whether you're a Jew, a Christian, a Muslim, and that comes from excuse me, it comes from the Hebrew scriptures, the Torah, the Old Testament, the first 5 books of Moses. It comes from the book of Leviticus, and it says, "You shall love the stranger like yourself." That means somebody who is not like you, love them anyway. Then there's the reminder in the book of Genesis, okay, that regardless of race, color, belief system, there's a question that was asked, okay? It says, why did God create swarms of bees, prides of lions, herds of deer, schools of fish, flocks of birds, but only one human couple? And the answer to that comes from the Talmud, and it's that so that nobody can go and say to someone else, my heritage is superior to yours. And all of that goes back to the book of Genesis, where God created only one man and one woman in the Garden of Eden. Okay? All of us share the same parents. And it doesn't matter what color, race, belief system that you happen to have. We all go back to the same source. Not just that, but we all share the same planet. You know, we can't escape to Mars or to some other planet in the galaxy. This isn't Star Wars. We have to share. And so there's just like multitudes of reasons for loving our neighbors as ourselves. That's the point that I wanted to make in this video today. And John, if you're watching, you probably aren't, you probably won't see this, but if you do, consider that. And consider the fact that white people in general are not your enemy. There are bad people in every ethnicity. And those people, those bad cops, you know, there should be early warning systems so that we can catch them before they become a problem in the system, you know, and get them out of there before they can tarnish the good name of good cops. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're all brothers and sisters. And that sounds like a lot of kumbaya, hold my hand, let's get warm and fuzzy. But that's how God is. And, you know, for myself, that's what I want. I want to be like God. So I would hope that you would too. Anyway, that is it for this particular video. And next time, I'm going to be talking about exposing how the media manipulates you by distorting facts. And again, my name is Will Blesch. This has been Relentless. And if you're on YouTube, real quick, hit subscribe, click the bell so that you get notifications when I upload a new video, and I'll see you in the next video.